Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of What the Haul. The last time you saw me, we did a new in video. We're doing another new in, but this time we're doing a fragrance roundup. Start the intro. I filmed the September new in video just before I recorded this one. I wanted to really just do a summary of some new fragrances because there's a lot leading up to Christmas, festive period. I'm sure there's lots of birthdays going on. Maybe you want to buy something new for yourself, and I just wanted to give you the rundown of some of the ones that, have been coming up left and right. We're not going to talk about Diddy because that's something that's constantly on my feed. I'm so annoyed at like how good the Last Night in Paris, whatever the album was. I used to listen to that one on repeat. I'll be leaning on a barn. There's those things in your life that just bring you joy, like listening to music that you're nostalgic about. Another one that I always think about too is Nas's Hate Me Now. I love Hate Me Now. Absolutely deplorable human being. And now can't listen to the music anymore. You truly can't listen to the music. Let's get down to business. So at Guerlain, they have the Aqua Allegoria fragrances, that signature bottle design with the honeycomb at the top. Very fresh fragrances. There are some that are a little bit stronger. Personally, I like Pamplalune, Herba Fresca are like the two from that collection that I enjoy. But now they have Absolutas Allegoria. I believe there's 5 or 6 fragrances, and I was able to find 3 of them. So there was a Santal, a Rose, and an Oud. I don't like Santal. That's a write-off. The Rose is very feminine and very sweet, very rich, but not so long-lasting. Oud is very fresh, not as deep and as dark as you would imagine. User-friendly sort of Oud. Softer, more sweet, more delicate fragrance. It's slightly addictive. I do like that one a lot, but the rest of the collection is nothing to phone home about, but that Oud fragrance was very, very good. J'adore is having a resurgence. It's been going for 25 years. It's the first fragrance that Galliano had when he came on board at Dior. His tenure at Dior is an entire video that I want to make. He is the gateway, getting into like this fashion and this beauty stuff. The J'adore fragrance, there's like 4 iterations that they're currently selling. There's one that's an alcohol-free liquid, and then they have this new one that's called Allure. Our African queen, Charlize, has retired and handed the reins over to the bad gal. I would also like to interrogate this, is the relationship that she has with LVMH is quite deep. She's at every single show. She's in the Vuitton adverts. She's the face of this huge fragrance. LVMH is in the business of acquiring and developing brands. They're not in the business of creating things. Fenty apparel is the only other time outside of Christian Lacroix that Arnault actually helped develop an entirely new entity. Fascinating. I don't know what the hold that Rihanna has over them. The Fenty beauty business, I don't know what the numbers look like. I'm sure it makes huge sums of money. She might as well be in Arnault at this point. J'adore as a whole franchise, they're easy fragrances. Anyone who likes floral scents. This new L'Or fragrance, it's really uplifting. It's really vibrant. When you look at the bottles, every one of them has a different neck design. So that's how you can distinguish one fragrance from the next. And as well, there is a huge assortment of ancillary products. So if you have somebody in your life who does like J'adore, you can buy them. The Le Baume, the shower gel, lots of beautiful little add-on products. Continuing with the big houses, this is one for the men: Chanel, Allure, Homme Sport, Superlégère. So this is like a branding exercise. It's Italian for super light. Certain cars that they make Superlégère. I think it's very woody. I wouldn't buy it personally, but again, I do think it's a very easy fragrance to give. I was always a fan of Allure Blanche, the one that comes in the silver bottle. I like that one a lot because it is a more lemony fragrance, a more vibrant fragrance. It reminds me of Oud Wood. It's a little bit softer than that. At Lancôme, in September, I was starting to see all the Julia Roberts adverts for the new La Vie Belle. The box is like a crimson color, and the juice is also very dark. It's actually the color of raspberry. Julia Roberts, the perfect person to have as Life is Sweet or Life is Good with that long smile. She's having this very long relationship with Lancôme. She might be like this era's answer to Isabella Rossellini. Starting in the 80s, she was like the face of Lancôme. That's just an aside. I think the original La Vie Belle smells like Victor and Rolf Flowerbomb. This is a completely different tangent away from the original. This is a raspberry-based fragrance, and that's all I smelled. It's a very deep sort of fruity fragrance. Imagine that this has a lot of staying power because on the card, the scent card that I had lying around for days, I could still smell it. It's the sort of fragrance that I feel like it would project and travel very far. So if you know somebody who either likes La Vieille Belle or a fruity fragrance, I think this would be a beautiful gift. There's a new Chloé fragrance. They've launched an intense version of the original Chloé fragrance. I haven't smelt a Chloé fragrance that I did not like until I discovered this new one. Something about it just really didn't speak to me. I was surprised at how expensive it was. We're just talking here. You might smell this and it might take you to the heavens and the stars. I was really disappointed with that one. So Tom Ford has two new ones. There's one that's like black lacquer. I think I'm above it. I'm so snooty when it comes to Tom Ford. All of you basic are still wearing Tom Ford fragrances and I've moved on. But when I saw the black lacquer, I was just like, no thanks. And so I was in a department store with a friend of mine and they told me about this. What is it called? Let's pull it up. I know I can't be bothered, but it's L'Ombre, something like that. It's a new fragrance. This is absolutely stunning. And I couldn't put my finger on why I thought it was so beautiful. There's something about this fragrance that makes me think of home, that makes me think of family. You know, very deep. It has cardamom and ginger in it. Those fragrances really speak to me because that is something that I would have grown up around and I could imagine wearing this all year. It does have vanilla in it as well, so it's just slightly sweet. One hell of a fragrance. Definitely put this on your skin to see how you feel about it because I think it's just absolutely beautiful. Further to that, this is another men's fragrance somebody reminded me about. The weekend that just passed, I was out and we were talking to somebody and he brought up Hanaé Mori. I forgot about Hanaé Mori and how beautiful the HM fragrance is. So Hanaé Mori have two men's scents. The classic one that has the silver screw or bolt at the top of it is one of the best fragrances. It has like a slight chocolatiness to it. If you can get to a Sephora that has the fresh cannabis Santal, start there and imagine something way more muted and less overwhelming because that cannabis Santal fragrance is very primal, it's very in your face, it's very bold. It's difficult to find now. They do have an e-commerce website that ships to Canada and the US, but if you ever get a chance to smell it, I just want to call that to your attention. Nothing new, but definitely one that I think deserves a lot more love. We're gonna close out with the fragrance that I wasn't expecting. Very much like this Tom Ford blew me away, and that is the new Hermès Barénia. If you've seen the bottle, stunning design, right? It's the collier de chien, that Hermès cuff that was really trendy, the late noughties, street style, very much like the love bracelet. Things are cyclical, right? They always kind of come back into fashion. Story is the brand wanted to make this the women's answer to Terre d'Hermès. But I always thought that Eau de Merveille was the ladies' version of Terre, but I'm wrong. If you know any of the modern Hermès fragrances, it has that same sort of DNA, that distillation, that dry down. I wouldn't even classify this as Chiffre. When I think of Chiffre, I think of my Mugler Chypre. This to me smells like new shoes, new handbag, new belt. It's that sort of vibe. It's smooth. You know somebody who maybe isn't Eau de Merveille, Jour, Twilly, any of those other Hermès fragrances, I would definitely consider buying this for them. Always try to get a sample or some way of letting the person live with it before they actually open the bottle so that they don't, you know, get stuck with it. I think it's definitely leaning more feminine than masculine. I think they did a really good job with this one. Really beautiful scent. This was a first. You know, I've never really done one of these sort of full fragrance dedicated videos, and I just want to have this conversation with you. If you've bought any of these, I'd like to know what your thoughts of those fragrances are. Leave that in the comments down below. Thumbs up, thumbs down, however this moved you. Thank you for listening. Thank me for speaking, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Adios.